It can smell a single particle of human blood from a distance of miles. Its rows of teeth are sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. There is no explanation for when or why the great white shark will attack.
You know, you're out there paddling around, calm water, waiting for a wave, and you see a shadow go by. You know, they're there.
Since the original Jaws was released more than a decade ago, the public's fear of sharks has been fueled by news reports of attacks off both coasts of the United States.
A week ago, a young man lying on his surfboard on Monterey Bay was attacked and killed.
12 shark attacks have been reported in Florida waters, bringing the total since January to 19.
His blood-stained surfboard with an 18-inch section bitten out of it was found.
There he is!
With the release of Jaws: The Revenge, sharks are back in the news. The film focuses on man's growing obsession with great whites and their growing obsession with us.
I'm not concerned about, you know, the waves or the undertow, but it's what's swimming around, and I think sharks are first and foremost on my list of things that I'm scared of out there, yeah.
If I saw a shark, I'd be out of the water so fast.
You know, just the idea of a shark swinging underneath you. You're in this water, you're looking around, you're like, yeah, I'm in control. No way, man.
Sharks are born with a set of deadly jaws. Already, these baby teeth could rip up a pound of flesh in seconds. This medium-sized great white was captured off Montauk, Long Island. Measuring in at close to 17 feet and weighing 2,800 pounds, it was caught ripping 100-pound chunks of meat from a whale carcass. Imagine what a 25-foot, 2-ton shark could do with its lethal set of jaws. Jaws: The Revenge pits a massive great white against a cast that includes Michael Caine, Lorraine Gary, Lance Guest, Mario Van Peebles, and Karen Young. On location, the cast spoke about their own fears concerning sharks.
This is a monster which you could very easily meet. I mean, you're hardly ever likely to meet Frankenstein's monster or any of those creepy things, but Jaws you could.
We just have a fascination, I think, with animals that can eat us.
The sharks are every demon that we can't conquer.
They're at the top of the food chain. You know, nobody messes with a great white.
This story opens where it all began, in the tiny seaport town of Amity. Off the coast of Massachusetts, the island of Martha's Vineyard once again doubled for Amity. Lorraine Gary returns to the role of Ellen Brody, a woman who has faced many tragedies. She now faces another.
Ellen has inherited the family obsession from Martin, her husband, who firmly believed that there was a shark stalking first the island of Amity and secondly the Brody family. And Ellen feels that it is the Brody fate that the shark will yet again strike.
The film's first bloody attack was staged offshore, where the cast and crew spent many hours in the frigid Atlantic waters.
Tonight, the shark comes up and bites off my arm, so they're shredding my arm and putting a lot of blood on me, and I'll be screaming and yelling and hollering for the people on shore. It's just a little segment that'll probably take 4 hours and about 3.5 seconds on the screen. And action!
It's taken somewhere in the vicinity of about 7 underwater special effects men with their scuba outfits to set all of that up with the boat rocking and showing the effects of Jaws attacking the boat.
That's the cut.
Beautiful fish.
Every time they do the effect, something new happens, and you're kind of looking into the dark water, and all of a sudden, a big explosion happens, or you know, in your mind, the fish comes out, and it is pretty scary.
The film company traveled from Martha's Vineyard to Nassau, where Ellen retreats to be with her son Michael and his family to forget the tragedy she left behind in Amity. On the way, Ellen meets an offbeat character named Hoagie Newcomb.
What makes the plane go up and down?
Oh, that's easy. You go like this, and the houses get bigger. He's not a shark hunter, he's a pilot. Then you go like this, and the houses get bigger. He's a sort of stock Hollywood character, of which I've not played very many. And, you know, the old guy who knows everything and done everything. A couple more passes, I'll buy my own airplane, maybe even my own airline.
Michael Caine had an interesting reason for choosing to play the role.
It's gone back to human beings, because I don't think that you can get terror in a film unless you've got believable people.
You're all I have left. I don't want you working in the water.
Ellen's fears focus on her son Michael, a marine biologist.
Mom, what I do is perfectly safe.
Michael and his Bahamian partner Jake study common sea life until they come upon an amazing discovery.
We got a big fish down here, Mom. Oh, yeah? How big?
Though the actors trained for several weeks in advance of filming underwater, their first scenes below the surface held some surprises.
They're in a foreign environment. They have been told a couple of times on the surface what to expect, what we're going to do, what the scenes are. And then they get down there and all these things are happening. There's a lot of people surrounding them. Suddenly their brain sort of goes up and locks until they've done it a few times.
It's weird. You go down, I'm sitting there underwater, and there's a guy, he's there checking your face, and there's another guy doing the clipboard, and the cameraman. It's just everybody's in a wetsuit, and they're underwater. So it's sort of just the whole thing. The thing is you have to get your hand signals down. You know, this means stop, do it again, close up. You know, because you can't speak, you've got to sort of run the whole hand signal thing. So once you get your hand signals down and you're comfortable under the water, it's not that tough.
All the underwater filming was coordinated from an 85-foot boat called the Moby 2.
The Moby 2 is our platform. It's totally self-sufficient. We have our own compressor, we have dive equipment, camera equipment, lighting equipment, and just generally a complete complement of everything that's needed to do the second unit or underwater work here.
One of the more difficult underwater scenes involved a moray eel, the second most feared set of jaws in the ocean.
When we turn him loose, we have no idea which way he's going to go. Whether he's going to go at the camera, at the bottom, at the diver's throat. So Gavin, who is doubling for Lance, is swimming through the shot, and he is startled by this eel. The eel appears from nowhere and swims right in front of his face. So it's obvious that there is some risk here.
If they latch onto you with their jaws, you're supposed to have to kill them to get them off. They don't let go. So we were sort of concerned about that. So we ended up where Jordan Klein, the director, was holding the moray by the neck and would throw him into the camera. And we would retrieve him with a net and go through the thing over and over and over again.
As dangerous as the moray proved to be, it couldn't compare to the larger danger that lurked in the Bahamian waters.
Get the bang sticks, we're going down. Bang sticks are no good, man. We're going down, all of us. Michael, we got us a great white. Now we're going to do us some real research for it.
We don't know a whole lot about sharks, and we know even less about great whites because nobody wants to, you know, here, let me take your temperature.
It's a very, very old fish. I mean, it's like almost from the dinosaur age.
As a survival machine, they've been around for hundreds of millions of years, unchanged, simply because they don't need to adapt anymore.
There are many mysteries surrounding the great white shark. For Jaws: The Revenge, the filmmakers set out to reveal new secrets about this amazing creature. Dr. John McCosker was brought on as a consultant.
No one knows how many white sharks there are. We guess that there's hundreds of them, maybe thousands of them along the California coast. But the fact that they are so uncommon is what makes it so frightening.
As one of the world's foremost shark experts, Dr. McCosker has studied the behavior of great whites off the coasts of California and Australia. Though they are physiologically unique in many ways, it is the great white's teeth that truly set them apart.
They have a continuous conveyor belt of teeth. Throughout their life, the old teeth are being replaced by new, even sharper teeth. But look, there's just a whole row of teeth down here. One sharp tooth replacing the old dull one. Yet this jaw is from a newborn white shark. It was only about 6 foot long. Imagine the jaws of that 21-footer. We've done experiments where we've put out bait in the water, and then we've had an opportunity to watch the shark before the attack. They spend some time swimming from down current, sniffing, looking, working up current, stalking their prey. Once they make up their mind to attack, they rush up at it, take one massive bite out of it, lift it out of the water, usually shake it once or twice, drop it in the water, and then they swim away. Then they'll come back and finish it off.
Some of the make-believe horrors of man-eating sharks as portrayed in the motion picture Jaws have become a reality in recent weeks along the northern coast of California.
The coastal area where most of the attacks have taken place has been called the Red Triangle.
Many of the great white's recent victims have been surfers. Marine biologists speculate that sharks are mistaking surfers for sea lions. This test footage shows how, from below the surface, a paddling surfer looks much like a sea lion. In Jaws: The Revenge, a great white strikes very close to shore. According to Dr. McCosker, this scenario is not all that extraordinary.
People have been attacked in water no deeper than their waist. In fact, when you see the white shark fin in the films, that's exactly what happens in real life. It's happened right here off San Francisco. Guy was killed in 1959, right under the Golden Gate Bridge. He was wading from offshore when the shark took him. It was a white.
One of the most horrific attacks in this film involves Ellen Brody's granddaughter.
Can I go on the banana boat? Margaret's going. She's with her mother. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
For filming, this complex scene was divided in half, with the onshore portion staged first.
Stand by for picture. We're rolling. Hey, Mark. And scream!
I hear my mother-in-law scream her name, and I look over and I see her, and I follow her where she's looking to, and I see the fin of this shark, and I have to run into the water and save her.
Oh my God. It's like the classic kind of Trojan women thing. All the women there running, screaming, you know, to save another woman child. It's the women against the shark.
In preparing the move to the water, the next job was to map out the shark's bloody assault.
The banana boat is doing this, and the shark is doing a diagonal, trying to catch it.
All right.
The banana boat makes a turn, and it sees the shark finally, but it's too late and hits the banana pot.
The banana boat sequence was one of the most difficult. In fact, it was the most difficult to shoot. Primarily because there were kids on the inflatable, and it's pulled by a high-speed boat, and they're going at a very good clip, with a lot of other boats around it, everybody enjoying themselves and general water activity. And a 4,000-pound shark has to come through the water, cut the path of the banana boat, and go for one of the kids. We hadn't counted on the actual terror on the part of the kids when they saw that shark come out of the water. And we discovered, much to our surprise, that it was also that terrifying for all the adult actors.
And we see the fin coming, and it's like, ah, you know, here comes Jaws, and we're holding on to each other and screaming till we're hoarse.
This is the sequence of events. Right before we start the shot, I'll have all of you go into the water so you're all nice and wet. You'll come out of the water and get into these positions. Bring the boat to number 1 and hold it there, please.
The true challenge was coordinating the technical logistics of the scene with the sheer horror of the attack.
We had to devise a way to be able to maintain the reality of what we wanted to do with the piece and maintain the ferociousness of it all. And the answer was to make what amounts to a visual ballet out of it. And as such, you get a much more frightened experience simply because you're able to slow down all of the elements to a point where you can digest it better, if that's the word to use.
In Jaws: The Revenge, the deadly great white cannot be stopped. Finally, the battle becomes personal as Ellen Brody sets out to defeat him.
We would like to keep the question open, frankly, as to whose revenge we're really talking about, the sharks or Ellen's.
It's almost a psychological story of obsession and denial and courage on everyone's part.
There she is. That's her right there.
Is that what I think it is?
Holy Christ!
Hang on to your socks, lads.
All the characters are drawn together for this final confrontation between man and shark. For filming the ultimate showdown, the cast and crew spent numerous days in the unpredictable Bahamian seas.
The biggest difficulty at sea is that nothing stays in the frame too long. You'll line a shot up, and suddenly, by the time all the lights are fixed and the adjustments are made and the actors are ready and we're all rehearsed, everything has drifted completely out of range.
Ellen, start using this pump.
Because of the difficulties involved in shooting on the high seas, a separate crew at Universal Studios in Hollywood built 2 tanks for filming the more technically complex scenes. One of the world's largest indoor tanks was built on a soundstage at the studio. The 30-foot deep tank held over 1 million gallons of water and was designed so the Jaws underwater crew could maneuver their equipment with ease and perfect the more difficult scenes. A shipwreck was built to duplicate a real one that was used in the Bahamas.
The tanks give you a much more controlled environment. You can control your lighting. It's easier to communicate with people. And there were so many complicated things that all had to happen at once. This was the place to do it.
Outside, a crew of 75 built a 3 million gallon tank designed to house the special equipment that was needed in the final attack scene. It took 24 hours to fill this, the largest tank in Hollywood. Next, crews painted a colossal backdrop to match the tropical Bahamian sky. Several shades of blue paint were used to capture the true effect. At the same time, dyes were tested to transform the water to the colors of the Caribbean.
Oh, it's bloody cold, isn't it? What happens in a movie is like if you get wet, all right, so you get out. What happened with me is I got wet in the Bahamas, and now I'm back here in some very cold water. And so weeks later, they're still pouring water over you because you were wet in the scene. The big difference here is try and keep the blue dye out of your hair because the water's dyed blue to be the same color as the Caribbean.
An 11,000-pound boat was lowered into the water and prepared for destruction in the most vicious shark attack yet seen. With all the elements in place, the crew was set to shoot the film's horrifying climax.
Okay, here we go. We're rolling. Ready to go. Start the wave machine. Action!
We're heading straight for it. Come about, Ellen.
In the climax of the movie, Ellen and Hoagie and Michael Brody are on the boat dealing with the shark, and the shark and the boat collide in a way that I cannot reveal to you.
We're heading straight for it. Come about, Ellen. Ellen, come about.
think people are drawn to the Jaws films primarily because of the intense identification with that primal terror that's in all of us about being eaten alive in the middle of an ocean that we can't somehow swim fast enough away from.
In Jaws: The Revenge, the terror is real as man confronts shark in the deadliest battle yet.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can learn about Jaws, sharks, movie making and everything in between. Also be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok and Instagram, and be sure to check out our website, thedailyjaws.com. Until next time, we drink to your legs. Farewell and adieu.